So hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Harry DeCosmo, freelance football journalist for BBC Sport, and what a setting this is. You can just see the yellow wall just there behind me. Just heard from Eddie Howe and Fabian Schar. Newcastle are going into this game with, obviously off the back of that game against Arsenal, that result, the way that the discourse around that game, Eddie Howe and Fabian Schar both saying that they're really just here to win. That's all they're interested in. There's no real sense that they're trying to get into any games. It was very, very bullish. I got the sense that Eddie Howe wasn't really in the mood for any jokes, any laughs, he was just, very, very businesslike, and more so than I've ever seen. I think from him, which is kind of interesting. I think he clearly has been quite irked by the discourse over the last couple of days. Obviously, Arsenal's statement, which I alluded to in the travel blog. Mikel Arteta saying everything that he has, and Arsenal releasing that statement. It's such a sort of heavy charged situation that Eddie Howe just, he said, "I just want to play the game." He's happy with the way his players have handled things, and really, really complimentary of the way that with the growing injury situation at Newcastle, and obviously there's more to come on that. The way that the players have handled themselves, he's been really proud of. He said that they've done really magnificently to deal with what is a growing problem. Obviously, the two bits of news from the press conference. Obviously, the headline is Dan Burn, who went off with a back injury on Saturday, is going to be out for 2 months. That's the sort of prognosis, unofficial, it must be said, from Howe. And then Matt Targett, who went off against Manchester United in the Cup, will be out for 3 months, and that's two players in a very, very well stocked on paper. When everyone's fit in a position in terms of left back, but now it's looking a little bit frail. He sort of talks about Kieran Trippier as being an option to play at left back, with Tino Livramento probably starting at right back. It's probably most likely. Lewis Hall, feels a little bit early, from my opinion, for him to come in and start in such an arena like this, and with this place is going to be bouncing tomorrow. Obviously, everyone is aware of how lively it can get here. It just looks absolutely stunning. Just swivel around, just have a look at the surroundings that I'm here with here. Absolutely brilliant place to watch football. I'm so pleased to be here, but it's going to be a really tough game. But he was quite clear on that he believed in his players to bounce back. He says that they've learned from what happened at St James's Park a couple of weeks ago. Fabian Schar sort of said the same sort of thing, and he was asked about the PSG game and the difference between PSG and Dortmund, and obviously that he said that St James's Park was at its best against PSG, and they got to learn quickly from the game against Dortmund. Obviously, Dortmund did a real number on Newcastle that day. It didn't look like a couple of the players who've since sort of hit a bit more form, like Joe Linton, for example, he didn't look particularly fit that game, in my opinion. He was absolutely fantastic on Saturday against Arsenal. Joe Willock is back in and playing so well. Obviously, really, really good performance against Manchester United in last week as well. So yeah, Newcastle are in good shape, all things considered. But the thing I've got to take from that press conference is just the bullish nature of Eddie Howe, just not here to play any games. Really, really up for this one. I think there was a couple of baiting questions on Mikel Arteta that he just batted away. Said he's been focusing on this game purely, and is very much in the mindset of this game and only this game now. And but he's never really. It feels like we're back under the siege mentality that sort of developed after that game at Liverpool. If you remember last season in August, when they were booed off by the Anfield crowd, and there was a lot of talk of the time wasting, and obviously so much talk about those new time wasting rules coming in to sort of combat the way Newcastle have played. But I think the fact that they're still causing these ructions and still having these results and still sort of bloodying the nose of these top sides shows you just how good they are adapting to situations. Again, Fabian Schar talked about everything that Eddie Howe has brought to Newcastle in a tactical sense, in a characteristic sense. There's so much about this team that is really building. It's clear that they're building this sort of siege mentality, which I think they're going to need going forward. But it really is really impressive the way that they've managed to sort of continue in that way of frustrating teams and getting those big results, and despite these new rules coming in, and it really feels it's all part of a design. I think as I say, Eddie Howe is a lovely man. He's very genuine in the press conferences. He's, there's usually a lot of laughs and a lot of sort of, good feeling around the place. But it just felt like it was business today. And that's, very, very good from a Newcastle perspective in one sense, that they're going to come into this game and feel like they're in a position where they can get a result here, because the context of this group is now that they do really need a good result, because the defeat against Dortmund, having been in a really good position after the win against PSG, the defeat against Dortmund gave Dortmund the advantage of the head-to-head rule. Newcastle going to this game third, knowing that they have to go to Paris in 2 weeks as well. There's quite a sort of sense that this is a crucial game, especially given that Milan will be facing PSG again in the other game a little later tomorrow night. So yeah, really, really interesting game coming up. It's just this setting is huge. It's very, very imposing when you stood outside. When you come up through after a taxi ride, I came up through here, and it just sort of hit me square in the face that the magnitude of this place. These big electric screens with blaring yellow and black everywhere. It's a very imposing place, and the noise is going to be crazy, especially 25,000 standing area there in the yellow wall. It's just going to be absolutely bouncing. I can't wait to experience it. But also, there's so many Geordies in town as well. There are reports of potentially 20,000 Geordies, if not more, coming over through Dusseldorf today in Dortmund. I've had a word with a few of them already. I'm going to be in the square at some point, either tonight or tomorrow. Anticipation is building, but as I say, it doesn't feel like Newcastle are here to play games. It feels like they know that they've got a job to do, and the siege mentality is absolutely crucial and vital, and sort of more a part of what they're trying to do. I've written a piece of analysis on the BBC Sport website, so you can go and have a look at that. Feels like Newcastle are here for business and business only. But there were really few nice words from Fabian Schar as well, saying that he wants to end his career at Newcastle. He feels at home at Newcastle. This is his second home now, and the way he's adapted to Eddie Howe's systems and styles of play is very impressive. I think everyone knew how, and he sort of alluded to this when he was asked about being uncomfortable playing in the back four, which was the sort of narrative that happened under Steve Bruce. He sort of batted away that with a smile, and there's a real inner confidence about him. He's really stepped up in the absence of Sven Botman, moving over to the left, and he was very he credited Jamal Lascelles' character and professionalism since he's come back in to join him back in the central positions as well. So to sum up, I think that Newcastle are in a good position. Eddie Howe's incredibly focused. Changes to the game, to the team. I think you'll see Kieran Trippier at left back is likely, with Tino Livramento at right back. Alexander Isak apparently trained alone this morning, but I don't think he's travelled, and won't be involved tomorrow. It'd be very, very unlikely that he'll be involved tomorrow. But the idea that he trained alone shows that there is progress being made with his fitness. And Newcastle are ready for what will be a huge, huge occasion. Thank you very much for joining me once again. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for a reaction to the game right here at Signal Iduna Park. Cheers, catch you soon.